Hello, and welcome to a sort of a gut reaction, but more of an in-depth review, actually, on Special Ops Lioness, formerly known as Lioness, before the production changed its name. I'm staying off camera at the minute because I want to keep my bright lights off because I've got a stream to do with Cannoli Sasquatch's channel at, 2 a.m. UK time on Spaceballs. So I'll be appearing on that channel in a couple of hours or 3 hours. My God, I'm going to be staying up for a late one today. But let's get into Special Ops Lioness. I just to sort of start from the beginning, I'm a bit of a fan of special forces shows. Thought Zero Dark 30 was a very good film, felt extremely accurate, and I'm also a fan of the Jack Ryan show, although I prefer the movies. And I also quite like. I've seen some. I've seen the first season of SEAL Team 6 or SEAL Team, and I've seen first 2 seasons of The Unit. So these are all in a similar realm. They're all kind of special forces shows about people putting their lives on the line for various political agendas, sometimes with not the best intentions from the politicians behind those agendas. This series has been accused of being, at least in some quarters of the press, as being sort of pro, sort of pro-military and kind of pro sort of military propaganda, this kind of thing. I have to say that having watched this show, it wouldn't encourage me to want to sign up for this kind of mission, whether I was in the peak of my prime and even if I was in or serving in the armed forces. This show would not make me want to go on infiltration, special ops, that kind of thing. Let me talk about the show a bit, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on it. So it's produced by Taylor Sheridan. People will know him from producing shows like Yellowstone. He also produced the various sequels and prequels, 1883, 1923. He's also directed a number of he's done screenplays for films like Hell and High Water. He directed Wind River, which is a film I really like. Wrote the sequel to Sicario, which I don't personally think it needed one. He also created the recent Sylvester Stallone drama Tulsa King, which I also thought was very good. And the crime thriller series Mayor of Kingstown, which is one of the best shows I've seen in a really long time. And I'm going to be doing a detailed stream about the Mayor of Kingstown in the near future. Here he predominantly serves as producer and created the show, so very much hands-on. It's got the Taylor Sheridan fingerprints all over it. Technically, it's extremely slick. Fantastic kind of opening credit sequence. The music serves the show well. It's regular collaborator of Taylor Sheridan, Andrew Lockington, who's a composer that I actually really like. He also did the music for The Mayor of Kingstown. So the series is loosely based on the premise of Team Lioness, where in 2003 a decision was made to send out female soldiers out with patrols aiming to stop insurgents from using women to smuggle material, so that they had female soldiers that could search Muslim women. But these teams also found themselves in direct combat situations, which was not something that they were initially put up to do, but I'm sure they rose to the occasion. Now, the show takes this a lot further. It's Zoe Saldana it's an ensemble piece, but Zoe Saldana is, I would say, front and center. It is her job to recruit and train Lioness agents to infiltrate successfully and carry out, I guess you would call them, assassination or neutralization missions of terrorists that have been identified. In the case of this first season, it's all about taking out the Ace of Spades, the man responsible for financing a number of terrorist attacks of numerous different groups over the years. That storyline is loosely based on a true person. That person did exist. I'm not sure of all the ins and outs. Terrorism history and politics is not a speciality of mine. World War II is more my bag. However, the show feels real. There wasn't a time when I was watching it where I felt it broke the rules of its own reality. In case anyone doesn't know what I mean by that, I don't think we should have invisible cars in James Bond, or James Bond skiing off of an ice floe, abseiling off of an ice floe rather. So it sticks very much within the world that it creates. This is a world of espionage, double dealing politics, rivalry within American anti-terrorism agencies. You've got people representing the FBI, people representing special ops, people representing the CIA, and those rivalries, those internal rivalries, are very much played upon with the people who have the ear of the president, who we never see in the show, rightly so, in my opinion. You've got a number of very heavy hitters in the supporting cast, acting wise. I'll do a breakdown of the cast shortly. And you've got a number of relatively unknowns, or certainly unknowns to me, some of whom are, there's one in particular I thought was bloody good. Now, Taylor Sheridan is, for the most part, is nearly always on the ball with his casting. This is one of the best roles I've ever seen Zoe Saldana do, and I bet she was relieved to get a really meaty part that was not in the world of Avatar, although I am a fan of Avatar, as Copa Catania will tell you. Zoe Saldana exceeds herself here. She has a fantastic arc as the CIA officer in charge of the Lioness program. We get an insight into her home life, which for all intents and purposes on the surface is a very much 2.4 picket fence, home life, except that she is the breadwinner in the house. The father does work as well, but she is the breadwinner, and that creates for a number of interesting home dynamic scenes, particularly in the last couple of episodes, which we don't see as often. We don't normally see the woman of the house going off to fight the war, and the man having to deal with the kids. And I mean, we have seen it before, but not portrayed this well, I don't think. And I thought those scenes were particularly good. Her job is to train an ex-Marine called Cruz Manuelos, who's a Marine of sort of mixed Mexican descent. She's played by Laysla De Oliveira. Now, I've seen her in a couple of things. She's got a pretty decent CV already, predominantly for playing a main role in Lock and Key, which I deliberately didn't watch because I'm a massive fan of the graphic novel, and I didn't want to be disappointed. I may get around to watching that at some point. She's done a few films, a handful of films, and also popped up in guest roles on things like Gothica, Nikita, The Gifted, did 3 episodes of that. But this is really the first time she's been given a meaty role as a very conflicted person who falls in love with one of the people that she has to initiate a friendship with in order to access her target. She's extremely conflicted about that. Again, I haven't seen that portrayed quite in this way before. There was a lot of stuff in the reviews saying this is just another formulaic sort of special forces drama, etc., etc. I have to disagree. I don't think this does look a lot like a lot of other counter-terrorism thrillers. I think it's got some differences to it. many of those brought about by the fact that we're really focusing on the women, which really works, by the way, in the show. And it doesn't just feel like we're doing a show about the women for the sake of it. It does feel very grounded. It feels very real. These characters have flaws. Salander's character has major flaws. The girl she is training has major flaws. She's not sure she can go through with her job. These are not people who are invincible, and these are characters who earn their traits, who earn their successes, but also all of their successes come with a price. So from a writing perspective, for me, whilst the ground might feel familiar in this show, I think it does what other shows have done better. I actually was far more gripped with this show than I was with the most recent season of Jack Ryan. And I do like Jack Ryan. I'm a fan of the show. But the recent season was so for me. It was still a 7.5 out of 10, but I just wasn't as gripped by it as I have been in the past. Special Ops Lioness had me very invested from the word go. I like the characters. I like them because they're flawed, because they're not perfect. We have a number of fantastic supporting actors in the cast, so let's also have a look at them. So we have Zoe Saldana there, who I've mentioned already. I would argue it's possibly her best performance that I've ever seen. I'd have to look at some of her other work, but to refresh my memory, but I think this is by far her best performance to date. So she should be really proud of this performance because she's really good. This is the actor who plays Salander's husband in the show. I'm just having a quick look to see if I can get his name. He's very good. He's a very good actor. Not coming up immediately to hand. Let me get the IMDb. Well, I've got it up, but I don't want to take off the photos. Let me open up a second IMDb page, and I'll just see if I can get the name of this actor, because I would like to give him a shout out. He's only got it's not a cameo. He's got his own little arc, and he's got a sort of a scene in most episodes. And there are 8 episodes in the first season. I feel like there could have been one more, but it was perfectly fine. But he's got a couple of really outstanding scenes with the characters. They've got 2 children in the story, and I just really like him as a character. He's an interesting character. He's not just a standard dad, and he gets to call out his wife a couple of times for her, her shit, as it were, which makes Salander's character, who's called Joe, by the way, someone who's refreshingly vulnerable outside of being very professional. I think this actor might be, is that Michael Park? It might be Michael Park, but I'm not sure. Okay, well, somebody in chat might know. If you do, please give me a shout and let me know. Some of the other characters in the supporting cast are a number of people that I'm familiar with, whose careers I really like. I just like them as actors. This is a training scene. You've got a number of supporting special forces characters who make up the kind of Black Ops QRF. Some of these actors I'm not familiar with, but I thought that all of them were good. They all felt professional. They all know how to use weapons properly. They've clearly had some in-character sort of arms training. They felt like a unit. Now, we've got Michael Kelly there. I absolutely love Michael Kelly. This is a scene with Nicole Kidman, who has a guest recurring role, and she's very, very good in this show. Back on form, because I've seen a couple of things of hers. Maybe it's more the projects that I haven't rated rather than her performance is always solid. You've also got Jennifer Ehle, a British actor who plays another high-ranking sort of politician, a person within the intelligence services. but also has links directly to the president, character called Mason. She was also in Zero Dark 30. She's playing a very similar character to in this show, but she's exceptionally good. Really, really good. This is Laysla De Oliveira, again, doing some training. She's extremely physically fit in this role. Her fight scenes are very convincing. There's a couple of scenes where she stabs people in order to dispose of them, and those scenes, I've got to tell you, are pretty brutal. It's a pretty violent show in places, but it doesn't overindulge the violence. So a number of scenes between Saldana and Kidman, and they're great in any scenes that they do together. Just going to drop my ad blocker in here quickly. They're really, really good. This was one bit that kind of annoyed me in the show, which is that you've got this kind of incognito Black Ops team, and they're jetting around in a black jet. Now, I know predominantly it arrives in sort of small airports and doesn't obviously come to major terminals and things, but it does fly to Mallorca at one point, and there ain't that many airports in Mallorca. I know because I've been there. So it's a bit of a kind of, hello, look, it's a spy's plane. It's a bit of a, you might as well paint a big sign on it and put Special Forces Incognito plane here. So I wasn't too sure about that. Now, look, that may well be based on facts. It could be that they've seen the planes that these guys use, and that's what it looks like. For me, it just felt a bit comical, but it's a small criticism, but it's one I did have. There again is all right, Dave Annable. Good. Okay, so this is Dave Annable. Sorry, it's not the name I said earlier. He's fantastic in this show. Really, really great actor. I haven't seen him in loads of things, or if I have, I didn't recognize him immediately. But he's as the husband, he really makes something of that role. And again, I think in the hands of a lesser writer and production team and producer, that role could have been really naff, and it's not. And again, that's a credit to the writers. Now, actually, Dave Annabelle's he's third listed on IMDb, so I'm just going to check him out. Oh, of course, he's Lee Dutton from Yellowstone. How did I not recognize him? Because he's a good actor, that's why. He's got a very different look in this show. He was also in Red Band Society for 13 episodes, which I haven't seen. Brothers and Sisters, which I haven't seen. Armed Response, which I did see. Just seeing if I've seen anything else. Did some guest TV shows, Third Watch and stuff like that. But his biggest job to date has been 3 episodes in Yellowstone and 12 episodes of Walker. And I did see Walker. That was just one season, but it was a good show. Quite enjoyed that. So yeah, he's a great actor. Really like him. Let's see him in more parts, please. Here he is again. Silver Fox. Look at that. Oh, sorry, I jumped. So I think this is a behind the scenes production picture with the security team that are protecting the bad guy in the final couple of episodes. You've got a lot of action in the show, and the action's very good. These are the daughters of Zoe Saldana in the show. They're both very good actors. We don't see much of them, but what we see is well handled. One of the senior officers in the show, I forget the name of the actor. I have seen him in other things, but his name doesn't spring to mind immediately. As I said, Morgan Freeman's here. This is the QRF team. Very realistic, very well done. I've seen a lot of documentaries and also interviews with real SEAL team members and contract security guys who are often ex-SEAL team or ex-Marines. And this is exactly how they dress and the kind of combat gear that they have. It's all for practical use and comfort. And a lot of them wearing jeans is not uncommon. Nicole Kidman again. So yeah, I'll continue with the cast as we've kind of leaned into the cast. So for me, the standout performances are Zoe Saldana, who's doing stuff I haven't seen her do before. I haven't seen her play. I've seen her play one other action-orientated role outside of Avatar, when she played the girl who was like the bounty hunter earlier in her career. But this is a very, very different role. But as I said, I wasn't familiar with our other lead, our second lead. It's really Saldana's and De Oliveira's film. And I've got to say, Laysla De Oliveira, who I don't know, she looks like a supermodel who'd become an actress. That's not the case, by the way. She's trained as an actress and she's a grafter. She's been working up the ladder, and the work's paid off. And she's a great actress. She plays a brilliant, really conflicted part. Normally you don't, when you see these kind of security sort of special forces espionage movies or shows, TV shows, you don't normally see characters so conflicted. It's normally more that the characters are, professional, pretty good at their job. Sometimes there'll be obstacles, but the obstacles are not normally themselves. They're not normally at war with themselves. That's not the case here. The case here is she's a character with a really difficult arc, and that arc has not come to an end by the end of the first season. She's still a very conflicted character. She's done her first successful mission, but it's come at a price, and she's not sure that she can do this. There's an actress called Stephanie Nur who's in the show, who I haven't seen before. She's of Middle Eastern descent. I want to get a bit more information there. And she plays the love interest of De Oliveira, and also the target of her. She's also the daughter of the target. Now, that could have been handled. That storyline could have been really naff, and it's not. It's convincing. It feels real. And I was really impressed with the quality of the acting from the two actors in these scenes, and also their chemistry, which I found very believable. This is the actress I'm talking about. I haven't seen her in a huge number of things. So just a bit of background on Stephanie. She lived in Egypt, Romania, Italy, Sri Lanka, Scotland, Jordan, and Austria, and speaks fluent Arabic, German, Italian, and English. Her command of Arabic is so that she can speak it in a few different dialects: Syrian, Egyptian, and Jordanian. She's the daughter of an Austrian diplomat and Syrian painter. Well, there we are. She was never going to become an accountant, was she? She's really good. She's only got 13 credits, but I'm going to say look out for her. She's just done My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, and it's got a few other credits there. Oh, she's in 1883 in 2 episodes. Oh, yeah. I know who she is. I know exactly who she is in 1883. I did not recognize her. Again, sign of a good actor, I would say. So clearly Taylor Sheridan has decided to use her again, and I think that's a good shout. This looks like the trailer for that's the trailer for 1883, because that's one of the best scenes in it. If you haven't seen 1883, by the way, you should. It's an absolutely fantastic show. Just continuing with the cast, we have several other people playing special forces roles. James Jordan, Jonah Wharton, LaMonica Garrett, Austin Herbert, Jill Wagner. These are all solid actors. They're all great. Can't say beyond what I've seen them do in this show, but I feel like I have seen a couple of them before. So let's just have a quick look. I feel like I've seen Jonah Wharton before in a couple of things. Am I right? I do watch NCIS occasionally, and yes, it's possible I've seen him in that Southland. I saw the whole show of Southland. Very good show. Not sure that I've seen LaMonica Garrett in anything. Very physical role for him. Oh no, I have. He plays the sergeant in 18. He's fantastic in 1883. Do you know? Again, I didn't recognise him. I didn't recognise him at all. All the actors have gone for very different looks in this show that's not there, and credit to them, you know. So he was also in Sons of Anarchy. That's right. Yeah, I remember him in that. So now I absolutely love Michael Kelly. I will watch anything he's in. He plays a lot of very similar roles. But he was one of the bad guys, I think, in the very first season of 24. But he's often playing government types. I've not seen this show with him and John Krasinski, unless that's Jack and Mike Kidman. No, I haven't seen that. It's a Russian movie with Wendell Pierce in it as well. 7.7 on IMDb. I better add that to my watch list. Okay. That could almost be from Jack Ryan, couldn't it? That could be a still from Jack Ryan. Martin Donovan has come to a theatre where I used to be the writer in residence, and he came in with his kids quite a long time ago. So what he was doing in the UK, I've no idea, but he often gets cast in English parts, even though he was born in California. Fantastic actor. So, I mean, the fact that you've got Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman on top of this cast, this is an outstanding cast. I don't know why some people feel that the material is average, because I have read other reviews, and Tomby's just said that was a still from Jack Ryan season 3. That's what I thought, man. But that still's been hijacked and put on the IMDb of another movie. Isn't that interesting? Michael Kelly is also in Jack Ryan. Absolutely correct. So I'm going to get into some spoilers now. So if you don't want spoilers, tune out at this point. But I will just tell you now, I recommend this show. So I do recommend it. You should watch it. So the story revolves around taking out this high-level target who's responsible for financing a number of terrorist organizations. There's severe debate about how to do this, and also in terms of America being visibly involved and accountability, and the whole idea being that it's done completely off the books. It's a black ops operation, effectively. The plan is to penetrate the circle of this individual with a lioness, a female agent, undercover. It's made clear to us that the female agent is pretty expendable. It's not made clear to her that she's expendable, but it's made clear to the viewer. There's a number of conflicts surrounding this, not least with the agent herself and her handler, but also the people in charge of the handler. Zoe Saldana is the handler, and also conflicts within the political circles of how this operation should be carried out, or if it should be carried out at all. I found all of these conflicts, knowing what I know now about the conflicts that went on behind the lead up to 9/11 within the American intelligence agencies, and so completely believable. I thought these scenes were extremely well handled. You've got several powerhouse actors in sort of a room doing a heavy dialogue scene, and all of the actors bring their A game. So you've got Nicole Kidman going up against Jennifer Ely and Morgan Freeman, with Zoe Saldana there, and Michael Kelly. I mean, that's in my opinion, 5 of the best actors in the world in a room doing a scene. Can you imagine if that was on stage, how fantastic it would be? I think the quality of the cast is on par with the Jack Ryan show, if not better. The action is on par with the Jack Ryan show, if not better. The show, some people said the show felt like it was shot a bit in studio at times. I didn't agree with that. The world felt pretty big to me. And I know what people mean when they talk about that, and you're looking to see if, how many countries the show's shot in? Does it feel like it was done on the backlot of Paramount? That kind of thing. I mean, the majority of the filming for the show was done in Mallorca. I suspect that was probably intentional, maybe to sidestep actors working outside of America. It didn't go into production until 2022. Of course, the strike wasn't on then. And it premiered in July in 2023, dropping weekly. Now, originally, I was going to do a gut reaction to the first 4 episodes, which I watched in a single day. But I was so into what happens next that I thought actually I would just delay this video and do a reaction to and review to the show as a whole. I watched I watched another episode not long after that, and then I watched the last 3 episodes today. RRTNZ says, just dropping in to say hello. Honestly, I struggle to take any show that has supermodels as super soldiers seriously. At least Charlie Angels played the trope for laughs. Yeah, but did you watch how the woman handled the weaponry and the fight scenes? I have to say I had the same reservation going into the show because I wasn't familiar with Laysla De Oliveira. She was bloody good, man. Her acting scenes are top class. At no point did I watch this actress and thought she hasn't earned this role. So I have to say, I quickly looked past that and I thought she has earned this role. And, you know, if you're going to play a special forces op, you better be in top shape. And she's ripped. Yeah, Tommy's mentioning she was good in Lock and Key. So, mate, I haven't seen that. I did see the initial pilot that was rejected. I didn't want to watch the other one because I'm a massive fan of the books. I have the graphic novels and I've got this very clear in my head. They were so visceral in terms of it's almost like watching a TV show, those graphic novels. But yeah, it's great to hear that she was good in it. I did see the trailers. I think she's good. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of her. Was she believable as a soldier? Absolutely. Was she believable as an agent? Absolutely. I mean, it's her performance that really won me over. Like I said, I was a bit like when I first saw the promo for this show, I did think, oh, okay, it's another female led drama series, action series, and all of the women are going to be fantastic at absolutely everything they do. And, you know, we're going to be in another kind of a Star Wars sequels situation. It's nothing like that. These characters, I've said it earlier at the beginning of the stream, these characters have flaws. They are not perfect people. They're good at their job, but even within their job, they're conflicted. Zoe Saldanha's relationship at home is not perfect. She's conflicted about leaving her kids behind. Her kids also need her. You can already see her marriage is on the verge of disintegrating. Her husband is frustrated. He wants her to leave the job, but at the same time, he respects what she does and treads a really fine line between having a go at her and kind of wishing her to come home safe. Laysla De Oliveira, particularly in the last 3 episodes, really brings her A game. She is very conflicted over her role. She falls in love with the daughter of her target, genuine love, which was believable. In the show, it was believable the way it was done. I thought it was very well handled. They had chemistry, the 2 actresses. So again, you know, it didn't feel salacious. It was really well done. This is a Taylor Sheridan show, and Sheridan, you know, with Sheridan, when you watch a show that he's produced, that you're going to see something that the very minimum is going to be above average. It's not going to be average. No. I listen, RRTNZ. I get what you're saying. But I think you should watch it, and I think the last 3 episodes are particularly good. I get what your reservations were. I really do. Mine were the same, and I know that you're not saying that. I'm just saying I feel she earned the role. You know, I watched the show with reservation. Wasn't sure about the first episode, but I usually give a show 3 episodes, and if I don't like it by the 3rd episode, I don't watch anymore. By the 3rd episode, I was well into this. And it's not just the story; it's the supporting cast. So I don't want to tell people how it all turns out. I mean, it's obviously set up for a 2nd season, but the conflicts are all still there. It's not a happy ending. It's not a this job comes at a cost for a lot of people involved. Some of the supporting cast are underwritten. You know, the special forces guys, we don't get to find out much about them other than they're part of the team and they're good at what they do. There's a particularly good scene in episode 6 where they're stationed in a house and 3 people decide to burgle the house. Can you imagine 3 nobodies burgling a house that just happens to have a squad of special forces guys pitched up in the house that they're not expecting to be there? That's a very, very interesting scene, and it's also interesting to see how it's handled and the reasoning behind how it's handled. Like, we don't want them to buy a car. You'll see what I mean when you get to that bit. So overall, yeah, I really liked it. I want to see a 2nd season. I had a couple of gripes here and there, and it did take me a while to buy into De Oliveira's storyline early on. But once we saw her do the more meatier scenes and we saw her become conflicted, I realized that this wasn't going to be just a show where the female characters are amazing at everything they do. They don't have any flaws. The men are all going to be crap and naff and whatever. It's not a show like that at all. It's a realistic show with believable political and personal conflicts, with well-written dialogue for the most part, very consistent technically, quite gripping, quite pacey, with first-rate performances from all the cast, including the people in the smallest parts. And I highly recommend it. I give the series overall probably 8 out of 10 on IMDb. In fact, I'm going to rate that now. There are some episodes that I would give a 9. But overall, I give the show an 8. I really like the music as well. I love the opening title sequence. There's, just lots of other details that are really first class. So if you want to watch a pretty gripping special forces political thriller it's got female leads, but it's not just their stories, I highly recommend this show. I think it does the topic proud, and I don't think it glorifies the job that these people do. I think it shows us that the job is actually quite toxic and very difficult for all involved. Now, to wrap this up, just to let you know, I'm going to be on Cannoli Sasquatch's channel tonight at 2 a.m. What was I thinking? To do a special edition about Spaceballs. I'm on tomorrow night with my next industry interview. I'm going to be doing some posts about that on my social media shortly. I have got Philip Rorsch, character actor, coming on the show. He's got an impressive list of IMDb credits, including the recent take on the Battle of Agincourt, The King with Timothée Chalamet. He's got a significant role in that film, and a number of other things. He was first in the movie Human Traffic, which he did quite early in his career, and he's got a fantastic scene in Human Traffic with Moff. If you've seen Human Traffic and you know the scene where the Emperor wants to control outer space, Yoda wants to control inner space. That is the fundamental difference between the good side and the bad side of the Force. Whoa, yeah, man, I don't know how well I come up with that. It scares me. So David Rorsch is the guy having that conversation with Moff, and it's a classic scene that often gets repeated at parties. The King is very good, David, and it's also quite a realistic depiction of the Battle of Agincourt on a small scale, but very well done. Then, so I'm not doing my gaming stream on Tuesday night, so there's no Lone Wolf on Tuesday. My fighting fantasy books of Freeway Fighter arrived today. Looking forward to doing that one, and I'm on my last Lone Wolf book, so I might do a couple of fighting fantasies in between, so that I don't run out of time on the Lone Wolf, and we can keep those going, because there's 2 more books due to drop fairly soon. Desert Phoenix is disappointed. I might do a gaming stream on Wednesday, mate, but it will probably be Freedom Fighter if I do. On Monday, the 2nd of October, I am going to be on the Critical Drinkers channel at about 9 to 9:30 p.m, give or take. And we are doing a special show on his channel about the Thing, the horror movie The Thing, which of course was the #1 pick on our top 5 horror movies of the decades of the 70s and 80s. Then I have also got the special episode on Halloween on my own channel about The Thing, with various guests coming on. I have looked up that Dune game, Tomby, but I've got a lot of work on at the moment, buddy. So I've got Masters of Orion on right now on the other computer. I know if I buy Dune, my work input on a daily basis is going to plunge. I don't think I'm going to get. I probably will buy Dune, but I don't think I'm going to get it just yet. So 17th of October, I have also got Jeff Farley, or Jeff S. Farley, if you want to look him up on IMDb. He was the key makeup artist on not only the Babylon 5 pilot, but 2 seasons. He also worked on Demolition Man. He's also works in various other special effects. He did a whole load of movies for Charles Band at Empire Pictures, including Arena, which was the first one he did. He's going to be an absolutely fantastic guest. Also, the producer of the TV series Boiling Point, which was also a feature film featuring my good friend Jason Flemyng, Hester Ruoff, will be on the channel this side of Christmas. We are just trying to work out dates. So that's another fantastic guest I've got coming on. I'm hoping also to get the producer Nicola Gregory of Dreaming Whilst Black. And I've got not 1, but 2 pretty big name directors, as long as we can work out schedules. They're both going to be on the channel this side of Christmas. Trust me, they've directed films you definitely will have heard of. So quite a lot of stuff to come. I'm going to be doing a gut reaction video to the first episode of The Continental, probably this week. I might do that on Wednesday. I've got my Ahsoka stream on Wednesday. And I've got a few things that I'm lining up, including a really in-depth look at my favorite cop show of all time, The Shield. So keep an eye on my channel, because I've got a whole load of stuff coming on, including industry interviews, reviews, in-depth stuff. Me and Matthew Holmes will be doing another movie double bill fairly soon. We'll let you know what that is in due course. Of course, he has got his movie The Cost coming out at the minute. Guys, if you haven't seen the trailer for The Cost, check it out. This is a movie that Matthew shot in lockdown for about 50K, and then it had a bit more money on post-production. It's nothing short of an amazing movie. I have seen it. So do check out the trailer for The Cost as well. So that's it from me. Don't forget, I'm going to be on Cannoli Sasquatch's channel tonight at 2 a.m. GMT time. God, I've no idea what time that is. In East Coast is probably 10 p.m. or something. And then I'll be on there for a couple of hours doing Spaceballs. I'll be back on tomorrow night at 9 o'clock with my guest actor, Philip Rausch. Until then, I'll see you all again soon. Thank you, chat, so much for coming in and joining me. And I hope you enjoyed this little review of Lioness. I do recommend it. 8 out of 10 from me. Check it out. If you like Jack Ryan, I think you'll like it.